Deuces here with another action figure review, and today I'm going to be reviewing my first completed BAF figure, and that is the Gladiator Hulk from the Thor Ragnarok wave of Marvel Legends figures. So this is the first official BAF I've ever actually completed, which is really super cool. And I have to say this is an impressive BAF. This is a really, really cool figure. Yeah, lots of things I like about it. Some things I don't like, but for the most part, it's a really good figure. So obviously there's no packaging to show off or anything. If memory serves me correctly, the head and helmet comes with Ragnarok Thor, I believe. The torso comes with Odinson. One of the arms, this arm and the axe comes with Hela. This arm and the hammer comes with Ares. And one leg and the shoulder armor comes with Jane Foster Thor, and then the other leg comes with Loki, if I remember correctly. And you need to collect every figure in the wave, obviously, to complete this BAF. And again, like I said, really, really cool. So I just kind of move the stuff out of the way here. Take a look at the head sculpt. So obviously you can see he's wearing the Gladiator helmet, which is really, really cool. I'll give you a quick look at him wearing the helmet. Very cool, very reminiscent to Planet Hulk, which I have read. And it's a great read. So if you haven't read Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, I highly recommend it. The helmet's really cool. I'll give you a close look at the helmet later. But it is removable, which is a really cool feature. So it's just one of his accessories there. You can put that off the side. Take a closer look at the head sculpt. I don't own any previous MCU figures or Hulk figures, but this head sculpt is really, really good. The hair is sculpted really nicely. The tone of green used throughout the figure is really nice. The eyes are painted really nicely. The eyebrows are painted and sculpted slightly there really well. You got the white paint on his face there. It's really cool. And it's a really, I think, accurate sculpt for the Hulk. Yeah, it would have been cool to get an alternate head sculpt of him screaming like he is when he bashes through the door in the trailer, but this is still really cool. Head sculpt, and while more neutral, still conveys some emotion. So you have more white paint apps here, which is really cool. And down along the arm as well. And along his straps here. You got the shoulder armor, which is also really cool. It's like a bluish gray color, which is really nice. It is removable. You can unplug the straps here and put it and take it off them, which is really cool. You got that option to do that. You got his arm here, which has all this armor on here with these spikes and this sort of more iron sort of color, which is really cool. You got these like blue wrappings around his hands, and they're sculpted nicely, look really good. The musculature and everything look good, and here's the other arm which has a different gauntlet, which is cool. Has some more of that blue fabric looking sculpting going on there. You got the lower armor piece. Again, looks really good. You've got sort of that bluish metal color, and then the more iron looking metal, and you got this nice sculpt that makes it look like worn metal, which is really cool. It's made of a it's a pretty pliable plastic, so it doesn't hinder too much articulation. And underneath he just has some, shorts, so it has some nice rigid sculpting detail, which is cool. There is a little bit of green bleeds in places, but it's not too bad. And you got the rest of his legs here, which are pretty generic. We just have the Gladiator sandals on. You got some spikes on the shins there. You got some sandals on. The interesting thing is that the sandals are actually removable if you want to. You can take them off his feet, which I think is kind of funny. Not something they had to do, but I think it makes the figure look overall better and more realistic, rather than having them just as part of the sculpts. So that's really cool. And yeah, it's just a really good looking figure. Sculpt and everything is bang on, I think, for the most part. In terms of articulation, he's not too bad. He has a ball joint in the head as well as a hinge, so he can look up a bit. You can look down a decent amount, and you can rotate it, and you get a bit of pivot. Ball hinges at the shoulders move alright. They're pretty good. Soles at the bicep. Only single hinge at the elbow, which doesn't move full 90 degrees. I wish it moved. The elbows had a bit more range of movement, but it's not terrible. Ball hinges at the wrists, but you're not going to get a whole lot of up and down movement, more or less just rotation. A diaphragm joint which rotates, crunches a bit, and goes back just a bit. Ball hinges at the hips that move pretty far out. Solo cuts at the thighs, double hinges at the knees, which move good, and hinges at the ankles with rockers. So he has pretty decent articulation. There are some parts which could be better, but for the most part, it is really cool. It works really well. In terms of accessories, I did say you do have the helmet here, which I will show off real briefly. It has that nice sort of sculpting and make it look like worn metal, which is really cool. I love the feathering on the top. We got that sort of little black paint apps to make it look more realistic, so that's really cool. Made it look a little dirty. And you got the white paint on the helmet there too, which is really cool. Yeah, it's really cool looking helmet. It sits on his head pretty well for the most part. He also comes with 2 weapons. He comes with this huge hammer, which is really cool. It's actually quite heavy, which is kind of to his downfall, but the sculpt itself is nice. I really like the paint. It's sculpted in sort of a silver, but then was given some brown wash to make it look rusted and worn, which is really cool. The problem with this hammer is that the hammer part is so... It's just a big hunk of plastic and quite heavy, so depending on how you have the figure posed, it'll start to sort of warp and bend down the this part of the hammer, which kind of sucks, so you'll have to just be wary of that. And then the other accessory he comes with the axe, which again has that same paint job as the hammer and looks pretty cool. Let's put the helmet back on him to get another look at him. The helmet, and he just looks really, really cool. I'll do a couple of quick comparisons. You can stand a bit more straight here. He can be a bit top heavy to stand, I will say that. It can be a pain to stand him sometimes. The bulkiness of the figure is really good though. I didn't really cover that. The new bulkiness to this Hulk sculpt is really nice. But here we have him. So first, here's just an average sort of Marvel Legends 6-inch figure. Hulk is definitely way taller and bulkier than Star-Lord here. And I think the scale is pretty good. Hulk could be standing probably a little taller, but for the most part that's what it would be, and that looks really good. And then, obviously the comparison you're going to want to see is his challenger, and that would be Thor. I don't have Thor standing up straight, but there they are. And again, Hulk is definitely taller than Thor, though not as tall as he was with Star-Lord, but I think the scaling, works really well. I think it looks pretty good. I think they scale really nicely together. And they look awesome together. I can't wait to start posing them together and photographing them together when I get the chance. Overall, this is a really, really cool BAF. This is one of the coolest BAFs I've seen in a while. That's why I completed the wave for the most part, because it was one of the BAFs that I said I absolutely did want to have, and I'm very happy I do have it and was able to build it up. If you're a fan of the Hulk, then that World War Hulk kind of thing, and you're looking forward to the Ragnarok movie, I highly recommend building this guy or trying to pick this guy up. I will be doing a wave overview very soon, so look forward to that, and I'll give you my thoughts on the wave. I'll rank them how I feel they should be ranked. So yeah, watch out for that video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.